The latest on Alec Baldwin and his growing spat with American Airlines. The actor apologized to his fellow passengers, but he is not backing down from his fighting words directed at the airline industry. And now American is not backing down either. And neither is Dan Harris.
No.
As he takes a closer look.
I'm on the case, Robin.
Good.
Until this story ends, I'll be here for you. This was not one of those fall on your knees, get all choked up apologies. Alec Baldwin said sorry to his fellow passengers while throwing more jabs at the flight attendant in question and the airline industry in general, all the while keeping this deliciously absurd dust-up very much alive. Alec Baldwin pulling off a neat trick, saying sorry while at the same time escalating the war of words with American Airlines. In his statement issued late yesterday, he apologized to his fellow passengers for the delay he caused, but directly took on the flight attendant, who he said singled him out, while lambasting the airline industry in general, calling the planes filthy, the meals barely edible, and saying some flight attendants walk the aisles of an airplane with whistles, all of it making flying a Greyhound bus experience. This controversy was practically made for late-night comics, and sure enough, they took full advantage overnight.
Well, Alec Baldwin is supposed to be on the show tonight. He must have missed his flight. I don't know what happened.
The whole thing started Tuesday afternoon when the actor tweeted that he'd been reamed by an American flight attendant for playing the Scrabble-style video game Words with Friends, even though the plane was still at the gate. That was followed by a blizzard of angry tweets, including one comparing American's flight crew to Catholic school gym teachers from the 1950s. Wednesday, American Airlines came out with its side of the story, saying Baldwin not only refused to turn off his phone, but got up and took his phone into the bathroom, slamming the door so hard the cockpit crew heard it. After which Baldwin was extremely rude to the crew, calling them inappropriate names, which is when they had him removed. The head of the largest flight attendants union was unsparing.
It's completely inappropriate for any passenger to disregard a crew member instructions, to get up and run and hide in a bathroom as a way to continue to disobey commands, reeks of historically passengers who needed to go have a smoke.
And even though Baldwin has now shut down his Twitter account, his famous friends are using the social network to rush to Baldwin's defense, with Jerry Seinfeld tweeting #NoHarmDone. And then this from Steve Martin. Now playing Words with Friends on Playground Slide, been asked to turn it off by my teacher, won't. Many people sympathize with Baldwin's frustration, as illustrated in this episode of The West Wing.
You can't use your phone until we land, sir.
We're flying in a Lockheed Eagle Series L-1011. Came off the line 20 months ago. Carries a SIM-5 transponder tracking system. Are you telling me I can still flummox this thing with something I bought at Radio Shack?
A lot of us feel that way, but even the people who say this rule is illogical admit Baldwin may have taken his complaint just a little bit too far. Meanwhile, this whole thing has been a huge boon for Words with Friends. By one count, the online game has added 100,000 new players since Baldwin lost his cool.
And now he's off of Twitter, so he has more time.
That's right.
To do that.
That's right. I suspect he'll be back on Twitter.
I think so. Steve Martin's tweet, that was pretty funny.
Pretty good.
All right.